guess just watching the film from App State, I mean, are there any notes in terms of how you could play better, or is it almost perfect?
I think that overall, it was a great game offensively. It wasn't just me. I mean, we blocked our butt off and ran great routes, caught the ball really well, no drops, no sacks. Phil ran for I don't even know how many yards per carry. So, you look at a game like that and look at the stats, and you're like, oh wow, quarterback played a great game, but the 10 guys around him is what really made it happen. So obviously, you look at a game like that and just happy to play a game like that, but you can't get too high off a game like that. So, but it was really fun. Just to see the explosiveness and the hard work from a season that or from an off season that we've been working our butt off. So to kind of see that come to life was really fun.
How valuable are those moments watching the film to have an exciting tape like that to be able to watch and, like you said, so many guys to be able to highlight and celebrate? What's that do for the camaraderie and some of that well-earned confidence that you guys have been working towards?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, like one of the biggest things, kind of what I talked about after the game, was like just being able to spread the ball around was awesome. It's really fun when you've got a guy with 4 touchdowns and 200 yards receiving. That's awesome for that guy. But when you've got 5 touchdowns with a bunch of different receivers and Antonio, Bryant, TJ, Jake, like you're just spreading it around. Like that's what's really fun, is when you got a whole offense coming together and 5 guys up front protecting the whole game. That's what's really fun. So it's definitely exciting. It's a little bit more exciting showing up on Sunday and turn on the tape. So that's always great. And but that really just kind of starts with those, specifically the receiving room, with the way that Coach Grish, has been coaching them and just the leaders of that room. And my point of view is Antonio and Adam are those 2 real leaders in that room that have really stepped up, honestly, a lot in the last couple weeks. So they've carried it, really well. So just really proud of them. But yeah, it's really fun to kind of turn on that tape for sure.
How encouraging is it to kind of see those leaders stepping up and those roles being embraced already in your season?
It's great. I mean, it's what you need in a long season like this. We're going to be playing, 16, 17 games. So obviously that's the plan. And to have just a core leadership like that is really big. That you don't have to have maybe 1 or 2 guys that's having to lead half a football team on offense. You've got leaders kind of sprinkled all over in different positions. Not only does it take a little bit off of me at times, but it lets other voices speak up, and you're not having to force it. It happens organically, it's really special. So it's awesome.
I think leading up to the App State game, you said that a coach told you, you don't have to win any games, you have to just manage them. Mm-hmm. I guess from your perspective, what does that mean, managing a game, and how do you think you did that against App State?
I mean, personally, I feel like I did a really, really good job of that. Just in terms of, I didn't have a crazy 360 Johnny Manziel run around the field, throw a backside post off my back foot. Like, I didn't have any crazy plays like that. In terms of like what we did was just being really efficient at what we do. We protected up front. Our routes were crisp on our targets. If you're supposed to run an 8-step glance route, you ran an 8-step glance route, not a 6-step. It's really detailed. We were very detailed in what we did. But at the end of the day, we just went and executed really well. So I think that that's really what happened, and yeah.
And that's how you kind of define what managing a game is for you.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Yeah, I think that honestly, managing the game is taking care of downs, knowing the situation, not feeling you're just not getting outside the system, right? You practice every single day in the system of, what's my progressions, what's this, have my eyes in the right places, on the right, guys on defense, and really just managing the game is staying within the system. It's just, doing what you do every day in practice and not trying to make it any more just because you've got a couple more people watching and you're against a different team. So that's in my view what I feel like I did did a good job of during the game, was just staying within the system and not trying to do too much, just doing what we do, and big plays will happen. So yeah.
Debo said on that touchdown pass to Antonio that you had checked into that, and
Yeah.
he talked about how him and Garrett talking about it on the sideline when they saw you make that change. Just that confidence, what you saw, and just continuing to just kind of develop that bond with Antonio even.
Yeah, I mean, that Coach Riley kind of said it best, kind of in the post game with the offenses. That's just the work we do in the summer. It's kind of what he said, and when he kind of said that, that kind of resonated with me and Antonio. We kind of looked at each other, like, that's right. Like, that's not something you really, practice, a whole lot of in practice. You're really running the system, but that's when you got time in summer to really see the game in a different way sometimes, in terms of there's nothing really on on the line in a sense, so you've got time to kind of make some fun checks sometimes. So obviously I kind of saw that in the game, and just kind of gave Antonio a poke, and we both knew it. We both saw what was on the other side, and but that's just kind of Antonio knowing the situation and me seeing it, and just kind of the game was slow in that moment, and I saw it and kind of made the check. So yeah.
You'll keep making a big point of another year in the system with Garrett, another year of you starting, and that's kind of the stuff that comes with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just there's freedoms in the offense at times, and it's controlled freedom in a sense that you can still be effective. So that's kind of the way that I like to look at it. Is there's controlled freedoms. It's not just go out there and check to whatever play you want because you feel like it. It's, hey, they're in a good play sometimes. That's just how football is. Sometimes that defense is in a better play against what we're about to run. So it's just, sometimes checking out of a bad play into a better play to still get positive yards and not just waste a play. So that's something that, that I feel like we're just getting better and better at, just being in the system more. So.
Ryan Linthicum was talking to us yesterday just in terms of having to be a confident leader, being in that position, but he felt like teammates on your side of the ball obviously helped him get there. Kind of what allowed you guys to kind of place that trust in him?
Yeah, I mean, I think more than anything, he's really earned that. It's, respect isn't something that you really ask for. It's something that you earn, and he's really earned that in this past year and in the way that he's played in his last two games. So just really proud of the way that he's led those guys up front, and that's a really tight group and a group that I have just so much respect for, and especially with Ryan. But yeah, just you've got the starting center job. You first of all, you got to go earn the respect, and he did that. And I love Ryan and just the way that he works, and we're right there with him. We're right by his side the whole way, and he's done a great job. There's a couple times where there's a couple funky situations in terms of which way to call stuff, and he's handled it great. I'm just really, really proud of the way that he's played these past two games, and and really on his end of just managing it, right? And in those funky situations of staying calm and not panicking, when there's five guys plus me and the running back depending on him at times to make the right call, and in a speedball situation, or in a blitz situation, or in a 2-minute situation, whatever it is, and his presence has just been just easy, and that's what's I've been really most proud of him for.
7 different guys found the end zone versus App State, and Wesco touched on they run basically a cover 2 defense. What areas of the field are you looking to attack with the guys that you have?
Versus NC State?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their kind of base defense is more of a 3 safety structure. So we'll be able to attack them in a certain different ways, but they do a great job of rallying to the ball, and then when they see pass, kind of dropping back with those 5 guys underneath. So we'll be able to hopefully kind of attack them in some certain ways. And I've been loving our game plan. So, but they do a great job on defense. I think that they're, the way that they run things, they're really well coached and have great athletes on that side that they can make great plays and rally the football and make tackles. So, I think that we need to go execute and just really have this game plan down. So, but yeah, definitely a great defense that can rally to the ball really well.
Again, when you talk about just the importance of this rivalry, just specifically in this area, just in your time here, what was your maybe understanding of the NC State rivalry coming into Clemson and now 2 years into it? Impressions.
Yeah, I obviously being from Austin, I didn't know a ton about the rivalry, but obviously since being here, definitely feel that presence a lot more, and with the overall record that we have against them, so definitely a game that it's a great game against a great opponent, and they're always going to bring their best, and we're going to bring our best, and but it's a great game that they're a heck of an opponent every year, and will always really challenge us at times. So
coming off of a game against Georgia where y'all didn't score a touchdown, and then now against App State having like a record-setting, getting like most points in half in ACC. What is kind of what you guys did from that App State game, looking forward to NC State, especially as a rivalry game? You're still at home. Like, are you guys going to try to replicate how you kind of ran the offense in that time, or is it just kind of the same thing as how you flowed?
That'd be great to replicate it as best as we can. We look at what we did good and we look at what we did bad, and you want to replicate the good things as much as you can. So, it's just, a lot of it's game plan stuff, and we kind of knew we could run by some of those guys. So, we want to always kind of be on the attack mode, and I think that was kind of the plan versus App State, and that's something that we want to continue to replicate for the rest of the season. So just always kind of staying on attack mode, and that's kind of the best answer I have versus that. Yeah.
With the freshman wide receivers, Bryant and TJ, how important is it to have a game like last week to not only have the confidence in practice but also in game with them moving forward?
I think those dudes already had all the confidence they needed, to be honest. I think they just kind of got to go display it, really. So, it's great for them to go make those plays, but they've had it since they've arrived, and the confidence that they come practice with every day, it's like they're veterans. So, and that's that whole room. There's nobody in that room that that feels like they're below anybody else. So, they're ready to play, and that whole room is. We've got a lot of great depth, and they're always ready to play. So. Whoever's in there, I've got full trust. Whether it's 1, 2s, or 3s, we got dudes. So just really proud of that room and the way that they've been working.
What did you do with your extra day or two on the bye week? Anything fun?
What was that? Sorry.
On the bye week, you do anything fun with a little extra time?
I just hung around here. I just hung around here and kind of watched football on Saturday and rested up, got my body right. Obviously, got moving around a little bit. Don't want to just sit around all day, but. I got moving around, but nothing special. Yeah, unfortunately.
Any questions for Cade virtually? Anybody else in the room?
Dabo said earlier this week that last game was one of the best games he'd ever been a part of, and that was one of the only games he's ever had 8 consecutive touchdowns. So as a quarterback, making that history, how does it feel to go through all that and then also hear that from your coach as well?
That's great. In the post game. To kind of hear all that was definitely really cool, and then showing back up on Monday, it was pretty cool to with the history that we have here of great teams and great offenses, to go do something that nobody else has really done was pretty special, and really just fuels us with some more confidence that hey, we can do this thing. So it was definitely pretty cool. But really I've kind of learned this in high school and just carried it through here that. My mind 24 hours later was focused on the next week and the next opponent. So I really haven't thought much about the App State game since the 24 hours later. So, but yeah, hearing that from Coach Swinney is pretty cool, and just the legendary career that he's had, definitely means a lot. So
the App State game was, from a fan's perspective, that was almost flawless. Is there anything you think that you or your teammates can improve on based off that game?
I think there's really more to learn from the Georgia game. It's tough to. I mean, I don't. It's a pretty good game. Yeah, I mean, it was a good offensive game. I think that really offensively, I think that we played really well in both halves. Was really proud of the way CV went and played. That was so fun to see from my point of view. Just he's been working his tail off for the past 2 years, so just really proud of him and the way that he got in there and got his moment and did exactly what I knew he could do. And but I think that there's no drop off from the ones and twos to threes. Whoever got in there went and executed. So I think that's something that's great. Is just taking those guys that haven't really played a lot and get them in there and just kind of fueling them and getting them going. That way they show back up for practice and hey, I can go do this thing too, and they'll be ready. So I think that was a good takeaway for sure.
Like you said, NC State often rushes 3, drops 8. How often have you seen that in your career, and what challenges does it present to an offense?
Yeah, I've played a couple teams like that. At least NC State last year, and South Carolina does that as well. So, and who else did that? There was one other team, but it's definitely a unique defense at times, and they don't do it all the time like some teams do. They'll definitely mix up some man and some other coverages too. So, they do a great job of doing it well, and they're very well coached and very disciplined in what they do. So, just having a great plan and just going and executing and trusting my eyes and trusting my preparation when I get out there.
All right. Thank you, Cade.
Awesome. Thank you.
DJ Parker's on.